Lars Heidfeld is a German professional racing driver. Despite scoring regular podium finishes in 2005 with Williams, and in 2007 and 2008 with BMW Sauber, Heidfeld never won a race after debuting in Formula One in 2000. Heidfeld currently holds 3 records. He holds the record for the most podium finishes without a Grand Prix win, and has the most second-place finishes without a win, with 8. He also holds the record for the most consecutive race classifications with a tally of 41. In 2011, Heidfeld raced in Formula One for the Renault team as a replacement for the injured Robert Kubica, his former BMW Sauber teammate, before being replaced by Bruno Senna. He currently drives for the Rebellion Racing team in the FIA World Endurance Championship and for Mahindra Racing Formula E team in Formula E. Early life and career. Heidfeld was born in Mönchengladbach, West Germany, on May 10, 1977, and began racing karts at the age of 11 in 1988. In 1994 he moved into the German Formula Ford Series, gaining widespread attention by winning 8 of the 9 races to take the title that season. In 1995 he won the German International Formula Ford 1800 Championship, and came second in the Zeit Cup. This led to a drive in the German Formula 3 Championship for 1996, where he finished 3rd overall, after taking 3 wins. He entered the end of the season Macau Grand Prix and won the first heat of the race, attracting the attention of compatriot Norbert Haug, who later signed him up for the West Competition team. Junior career. The following year Heidfeld won the German F3 Championship for Bertramsche Currency for Racing, with support from McLaren West, including a win at the Monaco Grand Prix Formula 3 support race. In 1998, he won 3 races and was runner-up in the International Formula 3000 Championship, with the West Competition team. At the final race of the season he was demoted to the back of the grid from pole position, after his team used non-compliant fuel. He finished the race 9th and out of the points, losing the championship by 7 points to Juan Pablo Montoya. During that season, he was also the official test driver for the McLaren Mercedes Formula One team. In 1999, he won the International Formula 3000 Championship. That year he also took the official track record at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, which still stands today. He was also a member of the Mercedes squad that raced at the 1999 24 Hours of Le Mans, but the team withdrew after the Mercedes-Benz CLR backflipped on the Mulsanne Straight while Mark Webber and Peter Dumbreck were driving. Formula One career. Prost. Heidfeld was signed as a race driver for the Prost Grand Prix F1 team for the 2000 season, alongside Formula One veteran Gene Ailsey. Heidfeld struggled with his new car and suffered a string of retirements, as well as colliding with his teammate on more than one occasion. Sauber. He departed Prost at the end of that season, before signing a 3-year contract with Sauber for 2001. He was partnered with then-rookie driver Mika Hakkinen. After the announcement of Mika Hakkinen's retirement, many thought that Heidfeld would replace him in the McLaren team, as he had outperformed Hakkinen over the year, including a podium position in the Brazilian Grand Prix. However, the McLaren seat went to Hakkinen, and Heidfeld stayed with Sauber for 2002 and 2003, where he raked up a number of points finishes. In 2002 he outperformed another rookie teammate, Felipe Massa, but was then beaten by his more experienced fellow countryman, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, in 2003. Jordan. At the end of the 2003 season, Heidfeld was replaced at the Sauber team by Jordan's Giancarlo Fisichella and looked to be without a race seat for the 2004 season. However, after impressing during a series of pre-season tests, it was announced that Heidfeld would race with a financially strapped Jordan team, alongside rookie Giorgio Pantano. The EJ14 was an upgrade of the previous season's uncompetitive EJ13 and proved slow. Despite this, Heidfeld often outperformed the car, finishing ahead of more competitive vehicles. He finished 7th at the Monaco Grand Prix and 8th at the Canadian Grand Prix and finished the season with 3 points. Williams. During the winter of 2004–2005, Heidfeld tested with the Williams team, in a shootout against Antonio Pizzonia for the second race seat alongside Mark Webber. At the Williams launch on January 31, 2005, it was announced that Heidfeld would be the race driver for the team in 2005. He performed well throughout the season, often finishing ahead of teammate Webber. At the seventh race of the 2005 season at the N1 Quarter-Rebürgerring circuit, his home Grand Prix, Heidfeld took his first ever pole position. In Monaco he finished second, which he equaled at the N1 Quarter-Rebürgerring in the same season. Heidfeld missed the Italian and Belgian Grand Prix due to injuries suffered in a testing accident. Scheduled to come back for Brazil, he was injured again when hit by a motorbike when out cycling, and therefore forced to sit out the rest of the season. BMW Sauber 2006, Heidfeld gained a contract with his then Williams engine supplier, BMW, when they bought the Sauber team and entered Formula One as BMW Sauber for the 2006 season, replacing Felipe Massa who was bound for Ferrari. During 2006 Heidfeld scored points several times for his new team. At Melbourne he ran as high as second until the safety car came out. He eventually finished fourth. At Indianapolis, he was eliminated in a spectacular first-lap accident which saw fellow drivers Scott Speed, Jenson Button, Kmira Currency Paragraph Nen and Juan Pablo Montoya also go out. Heidfeld's car was launched into a quadruple barrel roll, but he and the other drivers all walked away unharmed. The Hungarian Grand Prix saw Heidfeld give BMW Sauber their first podium finish and best result of the year, when he finished third, even though he had only qualified 10th on the grid. At the end of 2006, Heidfeld was quoted attacking the media's saturation coverage of his teammate Robert Kubica, who had scored fewer points than him. This has happened 2 other times in the German's career. In 2001 when he was teammates with Kmira Currency Paragraph Nen and in 2002, when he was teammates with Felipe Massa. Ra Currency Paragraph Nen and Massa later formed the 2007 Ferrari driver lineup. 2007. Heidfeld started the 2007 season strongly. In Bahrain, he chased down and overtook reigning world champion Fernando Alonso around the outside, finishing half a minute ahead of his BMW teammate Kubica. He scored 3 fourth places in the opening 3 races, a 6th in Monaco, and a 2nd place at the Canadian Grand Prix, where he also out-qualified both Ferraris, equaling his best ever Grand Prix finish. After retiring from 5th place at Indianapolis, he was outscored by teammate Kubica at both Megni Cowes and Silverstone. At an eventful European Grand Prix at the N1 Quarter-Rebürgerring, Heidfeld's home circuit, where he collided with Kubica on the opening lap, he recovered and overtook Kubica on the final lap to finish 6th, despite making 6 pit stops during the race. Heidfeld returned to form in Hungary, qualifying 2nd and finishing 3rd to score his and BMW 2nd podium of the season. He finished 4th at the Turkish and Italian Grand Prix, and 5th in the Belgian Grand Prix. He eventually finished a career-best 5th in the championship with 61 points, outpointing Kubica by 22 points. On April 28, 2007, Heidfeld drove 3 demonstration laps around the N1 Quarter-Rebürgering's legendary 14-mile Nordlift track, which made him the first driver in 31 years to pilot a current F1 car there. About 45,000 spectators attended the event, which was held after a 4-hour VLN endurance race. 2008. After several months of negotiations, BMW confirmed that Heidfeld would stay with the team for 2008. Heidfeld began the 2008 season strongly, finishing 2nd in Australia after qualifying 5th. In Malaysia, he qualified 5th but dropped down to 10th at the first corner after being pushed wide by Jano Trulli. He got back up to 6th, also setting his first ever fastest lap in the process. In Bahrain he started from 6th place but he did not gain a place at the start, but passed Trulli and Heikki Kovalainen to climb up to 4th. He finished there and this 4th gave him 2nd in the championship. After a few disappointing qualifying sessions and races in the following weeks, Kubica and Heidfeld made BMW Sauber history by securing the third-year team's first victory, and first 1-2 finish respectively in Canada. Heidfeld was positioned 8th on the grid and after losing a place at the start, before gaining it back, was sitting comfortably in 8th place once again before a safety car situation saw the top 7 cars enter the pits in what was to soon become a bizarre series of errors that left Heidfeld and Kubica battling for the top 2 places. Heidfeld was switched to a one-stop fuel strategy and came out of his stop ahead of Kubica, but considerably heavier on fuel. Not long afterwards, Heidfeld moved off the racing line allowing Kubica to make an easy pass, which then allowed the lighter BMW Sauber to build up a considerable lead on Heidfeld, who was occupied with preventing Fernando Alonso, also in a lighter car, from chasing Kubica. The gap built by Kubica allowed him to rejoin the race comfortably in the lead after his final pit stop with no threats behind him. Heidfeld finished the race second, solidifying his 5th-place position in the drivers' points although his post-race body language suggested he was unhappy to have ceded a potential win for the benefit of the team. Heidfeld had a disappointing race in France, failing to score any points. He came back strongly at the British Grand Prix, starting 5th and finishing 2nd in the wet conditions. Another strong performance, where he set the fastest lap of the race for the second time this season, was his home Grand Prix at the Hockenheimring showed that, for the time being, he had reversed the performance deficit to his teammate. Another second-place finish at the Belgian Grand Prix, followed by 5th and 6th-place finishes in Italy and Singapore respectively put him just 1 point behind current world champion Kimi Räikkönen paragraph Nen with just 3 races remaining. It was confirmed on October 6 that both Heidfeld and teammate Kubica would remain at the BMW Sauber team for the 2009 season. In the last 3 races Heidfeld scored 4 points, ending in 6th place in the standings after being passed by Fernando Alonso at the last round of the season. However, Heidfeld became only the second driver to finish 18 races in a single season, after Tiago Monteiro completed the same feat with Jordan in 2005. Heidfeld also became the first driver to finish every single race in a season since Michael Schumacher in 2002. 2009. Heidfeld began 2009 in Australia by qualifying in 11th place and finishing 10th in the race. At the Malaysian Grand Prix, Heidfeld again qualified in 11th, but started 10th as Sebastian Vettel was issued a 10-place drop. The race was stopped due to torrential rain on the 33rd lap, when Heidfeld was third, but as set out in the regulations, the result was taken at the end of the penultimate completed lap, when Heidfeld had been running second. Because less than 75% of the race distance had been covered, the drivers only received half points. He scored a further 2 points at the Spanish Grand Prix, and finished 5th at Spa to score another 4 points. A 7th-place finish at Monza added a further 2 points to his 2009 tally. Nevertheless, 4-point scoring finishes in the final 6 races secured him 13th position in the Drivers' Championship, 2 points ahead of Kubica. In Singapore, Heidfeld's run of 41 consecutive classified finishes was brought to an end due to a collision with Force India's Adrian Sutil. 2010, different stints equals. Mercedes and Pirelli test driver, following BMW's decision to withdraw from the sport at the end of the 2009 season. Heidfeld's future in Formula One was uncertain. It was mentioned that he was considered to drive for Mercedes GP alongside fellow German Nico Rosberg, but the team signed another German in Michael Schumacher instead. McLaren was also a potential destination, however these negotiations came to nothing as well. Heidfeld was then tipped for a seat at Sauber alongside Kami Kobayashi, but they decided to go with Pedro de la Rosa. Heidfeld was then in the running for a Renault F1 seat alongside fellow BMW Sauber refugee Robert Kubica, but on February 4, Heidfeld was confirmed as the test and reserve driver for Mercedes. At the Australian Grand Prix, Heidfeld was chosen to succeed Pedro de la Rosa as chairman of the Grand Prix Drivers' Association. He left the position upon taking the role of Pirelli's test driver ahead of the Belgian Grand Prix, and was replaced by Rubens Barrichello. In August 2010, with Heidfeld not yet having driven the Mercedes MGP W01 car, the team released him from his contract so that he could become the Pirelli Tire Company's test driver. Heidfeld tested a Toyota TF109 car fitted with Pirelli tyres on a number of occasions in 2010, ahead of the firm's replacement of Bridgestone as the sport's sole tyre supplier in 2011. Heidfeld completed 3 tests for Pirelli in Mugello, Paul Ricard and Gires before being released from his duties to join Sauber, with his place being taken by Romain Grosjean. Returns to F1 with BMW Sauber. In September 2010, Heidfeld returned to the Formula One grid, replacing Pedro de la Rosa at the BMW Sauber team for the remainder of the 2010 season. This marked his 3rd spell with them. On October 4, 2010, Sauber confirmed their driver lineup for 2011 as Kami Kobayashi and Sergio Parr copyright res, seemingly leaving Heidfeld without a drive for 2011, before replacing Robert Kubica at Renault, who was injured in a rally accident on February 6, 2011. Renault. On February 9, Lotus Renault GP confirmed that Heidfeld would be sharing testing duties with Bruno Senna on the Saturday and Sunday of the 4-day test at Gires, to evaluate the drivers in preparation of replacing the injured Robert Kubica, who had suffered a crash whilst rallying in Italy, for the 2011 season. On the Saturday, Heidfeld set the quickest time of the day, stating that he enjoyed his days running a Euro 86 laps with the team, and had fun driving the car. Heidfeld was confirmed as Kubica's replacement on February 16, 2011. In Australia, the first race of the season following the cancellation of the Bahrain Grand Prix, Heidfeld qualified 18th and ended 12th after suffering significant damage to his car due to another competitor driving into him at the start of race. On April 10, 2011, Heidfeld finished 3rd, after starting 6th, in the Malaysian Grand Prix at Sepang, breaking Stefan Johansson's record of 12 podiums without a win. He added another 12th place in China, before a 7th place finish in Turkey after a close battle with teammate Petrov. 2 8th places in Spain and Monaco were followed by a retirement at the Canadian Grand Prix, after running into the back of Kami Kobayashi and causing damage to his front wing, which broke under acceleration and collapsed under the car. He was forced to retire after his car caught fire after exiting the pit lane on lap 25 in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Heidfeld was replaced by Bruno Senna ahead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Heidfeld officially parted company with the team on September 2, 2011. Endurance racing. On February 1, 2012, it was confirmed that Heidfeld would join the Rebellion Racing team to contest both the Le Mans 24 Hours and selected races of the FIA World Endurance Championship. In addition to Le Mans, he also raced at the Sebring 12 Hours and Spa 6 Hours, sharing a Lola Toyota LMP1 car with teammates Neil Jani and Nicolas Prost. The car finished 32nd overall and 7th in class at Sebring after encountering problems, before leading home a Rebellion 1-2 in the unofficial privateer class at Spa, finishing 5th overall behind the 4 Works Audis. At Le Mans, Heidfeld and his teammates went one better by finishing 4th, splitting the Audis after a fast and problem-free run. Formula E. On June 26, 2014, Heidfeld signed up for the inaugural season of Formula E for Venturi Grand Prix. In the first race at the 2014 Beijing E-Prix, he had a spectacular accident at the final corner on the final lap with fellow Audi Sport driver Nicolas Prost whilst fighting for the lead. Nicolas later accepted the blame for the accident. At the 2014 Padreja E-Prix, he retired from the race after a collision this time with Frank Montefni, but to add insult to injury, he was excluded from the 19th position finish for changing his car outside of the permitted area during his pit stop, meaning he cannot count the race as a round where he drops a score. Personal life. Heidfeld lives in Star Currency Far, Switzerland with his fiancée copyrightee Patricia, daughter Junie, and sons Joda and Justus. He has an elder brother, Tim, and a younger brother, Sven, a former racing driver who is now a motorsport commentator for German television. Racing record. Career summary Season in progress. Formula racing International Formula 3000 results, key. Formula 1 results, key. A Euro did not finish, but was classified as he had completed more than 90% of the race distance. a Euro half points awarded as less than 75% of race distance was completed. Formula 1 records Heidfeld holds the following Formula 1 records. Formula E results, key, a Euro driver did not finish the race, but was classified as he completed over 90% of the race distance. Endurance racing Le Mans 24 hours results. FIA World Endurance Championship results, season in progress. American Le Mans Series results. Touring car racing Porsche Supercup results, key, a Euro not eligible for points. V8 Supercar results, a Euro not eligible for points. References. External links, Nick Heidfeld official website /English, Nick Heidfeld career summary at driverdb.com, Nick Heidfeld first official fan club website.